Good evening, everybody, and once again, welcome to the video. This is a hands-on lab, which means we are gonna do the project step by step. In my last video, I gave you a project demo, and it was truly amazing to see things in action. We had an on-prem database, either it can be Postgres, MySQL, or any database. We're gonna leverage the AWS DMS to bring data basically from certain tables into S3. Before we do all that, let's understand the project use case. Basically, in your company, you have database, right? And essentially on that table, a lot of transactions are happening, such as insert, update. Let's take a classy use case of an order items, right? Whenever a new order is created, you are essentially inserting that in the database. Sometimes the order might be updated, right? Now, at the same time, people are also running analytical queries on that database. But if you observe or if you think about it, that database is not designed for OLAP, right? It is basically an OLTP. OLAP basically are, specifically meant for like analytical workloads. So Apache Hudi is a classic example for building building transactional data lakes that you can insert, update, delete, and then basically query the data using Athena, right? So you could perform your OLAP queries. You can build dashboards using QuickSight, right? So basically what we're doing is we are offloading the analytical workloads basically from the database by migrating the data onto Apache Hudi Transactional Datalake. Again, any updates happen, so we also have a CDC, which means all the insert, update, deletes will be broadcasted to S3, and our Hudi table will essentially have the latest updated data, which will be in sync with the table on your on-prem or whatever database that is, right? So that is the goal of the project. Again, this is an amazing project, which I encourage you guys to try out. The project would incur a cost about $10, so I hope you're okay with that. So if you're okay, let's get started with the project. The first thing that we're gonna do is we understand the architecture. So the architecture is fairly straightforward. Here we have our database. We are gonna bring the data from the database using DMS. DMS is a tool which will essentially bring all the data and incremental data from that particular table or the entire database into S3. From S3, we're gonna catalog that data using Glue, and from that we'll have our Glue job. A Glue job is basically gonna take the data, read from a catalog with CDC, and essentially upsert into Apache Hudi table. That way you do not have any duplicates, right? And the end users can query the data via Athena, running standard or ad hoc queries using SQL, right? They can also present that information using QuickSight. So basically now all the analytic workload is offloaded on the Apache Hudi, and basically now you can build your dashboards and stuff like that, reporting stuff. ML engineers can directly consume that data out of basically Apache Hudi raw tables. Then you can build dimension and fact tables, that is a star schema as well. So that's the project, man. I mean, there's a lot going on, and this is a true hands-on step-by-step guide. So let's get started with the project. So the first thing that I want to do is basically I'm gonna open up my AWS account, and I'll create an Aurora Postgres version. Again, this is me simulating that this is an on-prem data. Again, it can be a SQL server. It doesn't really matter. Again, as I said, any database is okay for this, but I'm gonna use Aurora Postgres for this demo purposes. Okay, so I'm here on my AWS account. I'll head over to the RDS, come to the database section. I don't have a database. I'm gonna click on create database, and again we're gonna populate the database with we're gonna create a table and populate some order items inside that, and then we're gonna bring that in using DMS, right? So here I'm gonna click on the standard create. I'll click on Amazon Aurora over here, and then basically I'll click on Aurora Amazon Postgres edition, and over here I'll leave database as default. The master username is Postgres. The password would be also Postgres. I don't want 64 GB RAM for the demo purposes. I'll choose DB R5 large. About 16 GB RAM, 2 vCPUs is more than enough for me. Availability zone, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine for now. Yeah, so that's fine. Then all the other things I'm gonna leave it to default, and I'm gonna make sure I enable the public access over here. At this point, I'm pretty much done with my settings, and I'll close this and I'm gonna click on create database. Now this might take about 5 to 10 minutes, so go grab a cup of coffee. Oh, what happened? Okay, go grab a coffee, and we are gonna be back once this database is created. Okay. Meanwhile, our database is being created. We also need an S3 bucket where we are gonna put the data right from the database, right? So we're gonna, let's create an S3 bucket. So my database is still being created. So I'm gonna come on S3. I'm in the US West 2 region, that is Oregon. You can do it in any region that you like. So I have a bucket called sawmill DMS learn, and I'm gonna delete everything from this bucket. If you do not have an S3 bucket, I encourage you to make one. I'll show you, don't worry. I'll show you all the steps in this video. Because again, as I said, this is a hands-on lab, right? So come here to the bucket, click on the orange button, type a name, and all the way on the bottom section, you have a create bucket. So that should be straightforward, right? So now we have a bucket as well. At this point, we have a Aurora database which is being created, which is essentially our on-prem or data where all the order items and everything's is inserted, and we're going to leverage DMS to bring data from that, right? So now the next step is basically once the database is created, we're going to create a table inside that, and then basically we're going to populate some data inside that, and then we'll go to the DMS step. Okay, so at this point I simply just have to wait because the Aurora usually takes a little time, so I'm going to wait and I'm going to be back once this is ready. All right, so the cluster is finally ready. Took a while actually, but it's ready. So now click here, and you want to copy the writer instance over here, right? So kindly copy that and open a tool called pgadmin. If you don't have, you can install it. It's just a way to interact to Aurora Postgres. So I'm gonna click on server. Again, I'm gonna name this as my RDS on-prem. Just whatever Then connection, I'm gonna put that, username Postgres, password Postgres, and the database name is Postgres. And then I click on save, and I should be able to connect. And as you can see, I'm able to connect to my database. So congratulations. First of all, you are now set with the first part. You have an on-prem database, and now we just gotta populate some data. All right, so great, good job. Now, come to the database called Postgres under public schema under table, and right click on that, and there should be something. It's always a little hard to click on query tool. Okay, so here you can type queries. Right now you will be given an exercise file. So there is a file called SQL. The file name is SQL, right? So there, what you want to do is come here and copy this first two lines of code. This is again to create a database. This is again to create a table. My bad. So again, we are going to create a table called sales in a public schema, right? And you want to click on this icon, and here you can see table sales does not exist. Skipping create table. Okay, so the table has been created. What I will do is I'll refresh my database. So I'm gonna click on refresh, and then I can see my sales table over here. Great, absolutely great. Good job. And pause the video where you need to. Okay. The second part is straightforward. You're gonna populate some data. So I'm gonna copy the writer instance. I'm gonna head over to the Python script and then go to env. Okay. Over here, you will see basically, again, don't worry about all these. I'm gonna delete that after the video. So come here and basically put the endpoint on the Aurora DB server. There's an environment variable, put that. Rest everything should be same. If your username password is different, you may do so. Okay. Then there's a file called as loadaurora.py. You have to do nothing. We'll put 100 records over here. Okay. As you simply gotta run this file. Okay. So now again, there's a requirements.txt as well. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna come to the project directory in the terminal. So I'm gonna right click, I'm using IntelliJ IDE. I'm gonna right click, and then here I'm gonna do ls. Then type in command called pip3 install -r requirements.txt. So basically all the dependencies are gonna be installed. I already have it, as you can see. Now I'm gonna run the file, and this is gonna basically populate that table with orders. Okay. So I'm gonna wait at this point because we are gonna insert about 100 records in a loop. So I could do a batch as well, but for now it's fine. At this point, the records are being inserted. So what I'll do is basically I will say select everything from, and I'll put this one here, and I'll do a limit 10. Let me see if I can see some data. And sure enough, I do see some data. So the data is there in the Aurora Postgres. Let that, if you want, you can leave this script running, or if you, oh, it's done. So that's great. Now let's do a count and see how many records do we have. So I'll do a count over here, and I'll remove the limit query over here. We have 100 records. Congratulations. Again, step 2 down. So just follow the steps. Okay. Pause the video, do it, resume it. Okay. So step 2 done. Great. Good job. Now we have the data. Again, we have some dummy data that we can play off, right? Now, what do we need to do is the next step is straightforward. We have the Aurora, we have some data there. Now we essentially are gonna go to the DMS part where we're gonna configure stuff. And then at the end, we're gonna look, join all the blocks together, okay? So the next part is DMS. So what I'll do is basically head over to DMS, open it on a new tab. I'm gonna open it here. Now this again takes time, so I have to pause and resume. So first what we need to do is click on database migration, click on replication instance, okay? Click on the orange button that says create replication instance. And here you wanna type DMS replication. Just a note, in case if you're not able to connect to your Aurora, then in your VPC, you have to allow inbound and outbound traffic. You can just say allow all traffic there, okay? So just an FYI, in case if you're not able to connect. I think I can show you. So if you see here, if you come to the VPC part, and where is that security group stuff? Yeah, here choose the one default, whichever one you have, and then in the inbound rule, edit inbound and all traffic, and you can also allow your IP address, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Again, this is in case if you're not able to connect to Aurora, okay? All right, so we are on the DMS part, okay? So I'm gonna say DMS replication. I'm gonna put a description, and then I'm gonna choose a DMS T3 medium, 4 GB of RAM, 2 vCPU, and I'll zoom in also in case if you guys have trouble. I'm gonna use dev test because I'm not running a production cluster here. 50 GB is more than enough. Rest everything is default. Click on the button. Now this will take about 10 minutes. I know it's a little slow part, but hey, it's gonna take time, man. There's nothing much we can do. Actually, there are stuff that we can do. We can do the next steps. So I'll show you what the next steps are. So now you have a replication instance, right? That was, where did that, oh yeah, replication. Click on endpoint. So we need to create endpoints, basically source and target, right? So I'll show you the steps. So click on create. Now this should be on source endpoint. Now type here, source, Aurora, Postgres. Okay. Then on the here, you can select RDS. Oh, I have multiple regions, so that's good. So I'm going to select database 1 instance. I'm going to select my RDS. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to input the credentials manually here. Again, here you can connect to various source. You can connect to, Google Cloud SQL, all these stuff, Postgres, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB. Again, there's a lot of stuff that you can connect. All right, so I was at this part. Okay, so that's that. Now Amazon Postgres, I'll leave it to Amazon Postgres. And then here, remember username Postgres, password Postgres, database name Postgres, and that's pretty much it. You can come in here and click on run test. This would probably take time because my replication instance is still creating. So I'm just gonna create an endpoint at this point. So there you go. That's my oh, did I name? I should have named it something nice. Let me actually change this. Hold on. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to create again. So create endpoint source. I'm going to select an RDS. And then here I'm going to say source Aurora Postgres. Okay. Okay. Here I'll tell you what to do. So here you need to put an on. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to head over to the IAM. And we're gonna actually do a small cheating. We're just gonna give administrative access for now, okay? So head over to the roles, I think I have one called DMS, and if you observe here, I've given administrative access. It's easy. You can create a role, click on the create role, then you can select DMS from here, and then just attach administrative policy. Okay. So since I have that, I will come here and I copy the ARN. That's the ARN. Coming back to the DMS, and there was an option. Wait, descriptive Amazon. Yeah, ARN. So I'm gonna put on that. Wait, something is wrong. Hold on. So that's the source, that's my database. I give it a name, descriptive Amazon resource name on, yeah, okay, that's good. It should be good, don't worry. Here, Amazon Aurora Postgres, and then here we're gonna select on manually, we're gonna put that. So now I'm gonna put the password as Postgres, this as that, and then create an endpoint. We have a small error. The parameter value AWS IAM role is DMS is not valid argument for a resource identifier due to its length exceed. Wait, is that a description or an ARN? I know they basically, let me see, a friendly name. Oh, it's a description. My bad. Yeah, that ARN usually comes in the S3, the target part. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this one at this point and then just click on create endpoint. Okay, so my source endpoint is created, and I'm assuming my replication instance is still creating. It takes a long time, as I said. Now we will do the target. So click again here and now select target. Okay, now over here we'll select, we'll put a name, target S3, give it a descriptive name, doesn't really matter. And then here I'm gonna select S, and here you gotta put an ARN. There, I just forgot about that. So now for the target service access role, I'm gonna put that one. Again, has admin access there, so should be fine. Now open up your S3 and you need to put your S3 bucket. So I'm gonna copy that. Bucket name here, bucket folder. So this basically means where do you want to put the data. I want to put all the data inside a folder called DMS, so I'm gonna do that and then click on create endpoint. At this point, I simply need to relax because the replication instance is creating. There's nothing much I can do. So once that is created, then I'll show you how to create a task, move data into S3, and then basically into Apache Hudi. So let's just take a pause and resume once that endpoint is created, okay? So hopefully you are following with me so far. The first step was straightforward. We made a Aurora Postgres, we made a table, sales table. We essentially inserted data into that. Then we made went to DMS, we made a replication instance, we made a source, a target in the endpoint. And now, since my replication instance is creating, we need to do certain settings, and these are very, very important on the Aurora side. If you don't do this, you won't be able to do the CDC part. You will be able to move data, but not the CDC. So I have a snippets. I'm just gonna open up that and then of course share my screen again for you guys. There you go. So while I was doing this lab before, as I said, wait. Okay, there one. All right, so I have a URL and this is for Postgres. Again, whatever database flavor you are using, I am using Postgres. So I'm probably gonna show you the steps for that. So now to get the CDC part, this is a website, and actually I have a, so here. So these are the steps that I need to follow. So I need to essentially do certain changes on the Aurora side. I'll show you what that is, okay? So just follow with me, okay? So now I'm on the RDS, okay? So now come to the configuration section. And here, do you see the default Aurora Postgres 13? It's called database cluster parameter group. Click here, okay? Now what you need to do, there should be an option to create one. Edit, hold on. I just have to remember the steps. Oh yeah, there you go, parameter group, right? Now click on the button that says create parameter group, okay? Now here, again, I have my steps here. So I'm gonna name this as, I can name it anything, doesn't really matter. But I think in the documentation they said something specific. But again, you can name it anything, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna name it whatever I like. So over here, first I'm gonna select my Aurora Postgres. I'm using Aurora Postgres 13. So I'm gonna select 13. Over here, you have to select DB cluster parameter group, okay? Group name Aurora, just say custom, should be fine. And then basically you want to click on create. I guess the dot doesn't work. I gotta use a slash maybe. All right, let's try that. Okay, that works. Now you need to change certain parameters that I'll show you. Okay, so now click on this Aurora custom. Okay, and here you'll see bunch of parameters. Don't be afraid. It's CC. Okay, so now what we gotta do is basically the first thing. If you observe, they've given stuff here, right? So I'm gonna read stuff from here because it's easy for me. So RDS logical replication parameter. So let's go back, click on here. So you see this is set to 0, set this to 1 now. So click on edit, change this to 1, click on save changes. Okay, good job, so far so good. Now the second step is, again, they have mentioned it here. I'll leave the links. Let me see. So this one, wall, hold on, 1 sec. AWS DMS sets the wall level max application. That's fine. Okay, now wall sender timeout parameter, we need to set that to 0, I believe. So wall sender parameter ends replication connection that are inactive specified for. So the default is okay. Now setting the value to 0 will disable. Okay, yeah, we gotta do that. So wall sender timeout. Okay, wall underscore send whatever that is. So put that here. I'm gonna search. Okay, now this one, change this to 0. Okay, click on save. Very good job, guys. Now this one. Now we gotta do wall sender timeout. We gotta set a non-zero value. We're gonna put like 5 minutes there. So search here, I forget W always. So here you see 0, right? So now we wanna put 5 minutes. So we'll do minutes to milliseconds on Google. Probably put 5 minutes, that's good enough, and put this value over here, I guess 30,000 units, tens, 100,000, 10,000, like 3 lakh or whatever that is. So put that number in and click on save. Okay, now I think the last step that we gotta do, ensure that the value of max worker process parameter and data, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, other stuff you can leave it to default, doesn't really matter. So these things you're done, click on save changes. Now come back. Okay, and then now what we need to do is basically on the database section, click here. Now over here, click on modify. Okay, now I'll show you the steps, don't worry. Again, we just gotta apply these settings and then we're all set with the DMS part. So on the Aurora side, if you scroll down, here, database option here, now select the one that you made, Aurora Postgres custom, this one. Okay, we made that, right? Now come here, continue. I'm gonna say apply immediately. Okay, apply that. Now once this is applied, what we need to do is we need to reboot our the instance. Okay, and once that is done, we are all set. Then it's piece of cake. So hopefully you are following. Please pause the video and see what I am doing. Okay, links will be there, but try to do these stuff with me. Okay, all right. So at this point, if I come here, it is available, so that's good. So let me make sure that the settings was applied correctly. So I'm just gonna make sure. So I'm gonna click on modify. I think it did apply, but I'm just gonna double check. It doesn't really hurt. Yeah, Postgres custom. Click continue. Apply. Yeah, I think it's being applied, so that's good. If I refresh, that's great. Now what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna reboot it. Okay, so let me see the option for reboot. I think it should be here, database instance one. Yeah. So here the option of reboot, click on the reboot and then click on confirm. Now this might take a second, so this is rebooting, so I'm gonna relax until then. Now what we need to do is basically, let's see our DMS part. So I'm gonna head back to my DMS. At this point, let's refresh my replication. It's still in the creating. Again, this takes time, you know. So I'm just gonna pause and resume once both of them is done. I'm gonna resume once the DMS replication instance is available and my Aurora database has been rebooted. Okay, and I'll resume and then show you the next part. So guys, I think finally it is ready. So again, my Aurora cluster, I did reboot, I did apply those settings. Okay, that is important. Okay, that's available. All the three are in available state, so good. DMS replication instance is also good. So now what you want to do is come to endpoint, and we just want to test and make sure it works. Okay, so come to connection and then click on test connection, click on run test. Here you should see successful or okay, or everything good. You shouldn't see any errors. If you see errors, that means something in the VPC or something is off here. You need to go figure it out, right? So this usually takes about a minute or two, I guess. But yeah, do this test, and then we're gonna do the test on the target as well. So basically what we are doing is we are seeing if we are able to, all the connection part and everything is okay. Ideally, if it is not okay, something with the VPC is off, but here you can see I got a successful. Then I'll do the same thing for the target. Head over to the connection. This is my S3. So test connection. No record found. That is interesting. Okay, now it came. There's a little lag. All right. All right. So hopefully now basically that's gonna do the test and basically tell you if everything is okay, the earn and the access policy, etc., etc. Since I essentially gave admin access, so it's gonna work for this, right? So yeah. So let's wait, and then once this is done, that is my source. Oh yeah, there you go. So now basically my source and target both are okay, my replication instance okay, my DMS is okay. Now let's do it. All right, so now head over to the task section, click on create task, and then here we're gonna say DMS task to DMS task move. We're gonna move the sales data S3. Put the name, replication instance, select that one, select the source, select the target. Here you have a couple of options. That means replicate data changes only, which means CDC only, any updates, insert, delete happens, only migrate those one. If you might want to migrate data as well, just the data, you could do that as well. So for the lab, for this demo, again, you can migrate, you can do both of them as well. It doesn't really matter. But I want to do migrate replicate data changes only. Assuming you already did the data migration, you can always go and choose migrate existing data and replicate ongoing changes. Okay, we can do that as well. Doesn't really matter. Here, do nothing. Don't stop. Here, don't include lob. Come to the table mappings. Click on add a new rules. Click on schema, and here we will use public. Right, and public we have sales, right? So we come here, public sales, right? SALES, yeah, sales. Then that's it, guys. Just click on create button, sit back, relax, enjoy, and it's gonna do the job for us. So now this will move the data, and any updates that happen is gonna move on S3. So I'll show you now. Again, this is in the creating state, right? Might take about a second or two. So I'm gonna resume once this is created. Okay, so I'm back, guys. Again, it's started, so gonna resume the video again. So at this point, if you observe, where am I? Oh yeah, yeah, it is in progress. So here you can see it is in the ready state. If you head over to the it's in the starting state. I don't see anything on the table statistics. Again, it's starting, so might just want to give it a time, about a minute or two. So let it do the work, and here you will see a progress bar which will say up to 100%, and then on the S3 you should have all the data, and then any incremental updates. Oh shit, that was pretty fast. Look at that. Oh shit, that's great. All right, so that's fast, but the UI is a little buggy here. So okay, that makes sense. I have the data. That's good. So now I can show you. I can download. Remember how many we had? We had 100 records, right? So I should see 100 record in the CSV. So I'm gonna open that CSV here, over here. Scroll down, and there you go. Exactly 100 records, just the way what I expected, right? Right, perfect, right? So again, that's great. Now what do we need to do is basically any incremental data we're gonna see that on the S3, right? So now follow the steps with me, okay? I'm gonna delete this data for a reason. I'm gonna delete it for a reason for now. So give me a second, okay? I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is basically we're gonna do an update operation and see if we are able to get that one. Okay, so I'm gonna right click here and I'm gonna click on click on. Oh, yo, where is that update? Yeah, so come here on the update section and just gonna take some records here. So this is a little buggy, the UI. So I wanna set the shipping type, and I will show you the query for that. Again, this will be there in the SQL. There's a folder called SQL, and all the SQL snippets would be there. Okay. So before that, I want to do a select statement. I want to see what is there. So select everything from. I want to do our next line. Select everything from the sales, and then limit 10. So I'm gonna now show you the CDC part. So I'll do that one. Okay, so let's say we are gonna take invoice number 15216. Okay, now basically here we're gonna say where INVOICE invoice ID is equal to this, and then observe. Let me collapse this one. So observe here that the first of all, I wanna just show you that one. So that way that makes sense. So I'm gonna add a where clause here because I wanna show the CDC now, right? And of course you're gonna do the Hudi, okay? That's still left. So here you can see it's 3 days. I'm gonna make this to, let's say the shipping day was changed to 2 days for this invoice. So I will update this, and here you can see I did update that. And if I now try to query that data, that particular invoice, here you can see that is now changed to 2 days. So what we did is basically we did update certain thing on our table. Now what we are expecting that this DMS will take that changes. Okay, that is the expectation over here, right? So now if I go to the DMS, hopefully I should see that coming in. So again, depending, it might take a while. So here you can see I'm on the DMS console on the table statistics. Here you can see all the insert updates. Here you can see applied one update, right? So if I go to S3, I should see that update. Okay. So if I refresh again, it's not coming here now, but again, it might take a second or two. So you might want to be a little bit patient. I will do one more record as well, just to show you. I will remove the where clause. So remember, I did the invoice 15, this one, I'll write down in a notepad. Okay. And then I want to do a select statement. We'll do 3-2. We'll do this one. Okay. So these two invoice I've taken in a notepad as well. And so first we'll see this, what is the shipping date here. Here is again 3 days. I'm gonna make that to 2 days. Okay. Again, one more update happening, right? So 2 updates have happened so far, right? Everybody with me so far, right? Wait a minute. Hold on. There you go. So again, 2 days, right? Now, what do I expect that my DMS to capture that? And again, I should see 2 here within a couple of seconds. Then what's gonna happen is on S3, if I refresh, there you go. I see that. That is amazing. It essentially brought the change from the table to S3. We're not done yet. We still have to do some Hudi part. So now let's try to query this data, right? So for this, I will use Athena, and I'm gonna create a table. Actually, I'm gonna create a database called DMSDB. I don't have a database. Oh, I have a database, so I'm gonna delete all the older database, so that way I can show you that I'm doing this workshop with you. So click on database, delete everything. All right, that's great. Now head over to Athena. Now here, start doing stuff that I'm gonna do. So close everything, open up a new tab here, fresh one. And then in the file called SQL, you will have some snippets here. So the first snippet is you wanna create a database called DMSDB. So here you can see database has been created. If you refresh, and from the drop down, you can see DMSDB, select that. Okay. Now we want to create a table. So basically this is the table that we want to create. Okay. So here I'm going to say create external table. And again, observe one thing carefully. Here you see the S3 path, right? So put the S3 path that where the data lives. So my data lake is inside public and inside the sales. I'm going to click on this copy S3 URI, put one here. Okay. And then copy this again go to Athena, and then now I'm going to click on run. I should see a table, as you can see, called raw_sales. And if I now query my data, I should see the updated records that I did. So here you can see I made 2 updates on the record, and I'm able to basically get that. Now, what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna create a Hudi table. Now, this is where Apache Hudi shines. Again, if you have watched my promo video of the project, I showed, right, on the data lakes. Now, if you do the same update, you will have multiple updates, you'll have duplicate, but we don't want duplicate. We want in the data lake what is there in the database. We want it in sync. So that's where the Hudi will shine. Okay. So now come with me and basically come to AWS Glue over here. Again, there's a Glue notebook. I'll leave that in the description. So follow the steps with me. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head over to the notebook section. Sorry about that. I think I have a notebook. I'm just gonna start that job. Again, you can upload that notebook. So here you can click on Jupyter Notebook and click on upload. I have it, so I'm not gonna do it. So I'm just gonna start this notebook. So I'm gonna click on the notebook is starting. So now we're gonna read the data, and then we're gonna upsert into the Hudi. Okay, ready? So back on my console. Again, if you're able to implement this pipeline end to end, bravo. I mean, trust me, bravo. Now here what you want to do is I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. So I'm using connection type as Hudi connection. If you don't know, if you don't have a Hudi connector, okay, I'll show you the steps. It's fine. Again, it's fine. I'll just show you quickly. It's fine. Go to marketplace. Okay. Search here for Hudi. Click Hudi. Click continue subscribe. Okay, and continue configuration, select glue 3.10.1, continue launch, and then there will be a blue button on the modal. So click this button, a blue button, activate glue connector, and then here put the name as Hudi connection, and then click on save. I've done that, so I'm not going to do it again. Okay, so now back to my notebook. Hopefully you can see, right? So I'm going to run this. So now I'm essentially starting a Spark instance here. Let me comment this one out, and here I'm defining all the imports, right? Makes sense, right? Now here I'm creating a Spark instance, and now here observe I'm reading from that Glue database called raw sales. We essentially made an external table in Athena, right? Now we'll try to read the data in Glue. All right, that might take a while waiting for the session to create. Okay, so we're gonna wait. Again, should be done in a second or two. Again, this at the end, please don't forget to terminate everything, otherwise it's gonna cost you money. Okay, so make sure you terminate everything. All right, so again, waiting, always waiting. So print, just gonna do hello. Again, this usually takes time depending upon the number of workers. I'm using 3 workers, G1X. Am I using G1X or G2X? G1X, yeah. So I guess 16 GB RAM, right? Yeah, I guess. All right, yeah. So this might take. All right, finally the wait is over. The session is created. I'm creating now a Spark instance. Then I'm gonna read on Glue data, right? I'm gonna apply mapping, right? So I'm gonna run the cell, right? Now I'm gonna convert that data frame into a Spark data frame, right? So and then I'm gonna do a show. So I can show you, right? Basically. So again, this will take a minute or two. So if you did follow all the steps correctly, and mark my words, it will work if you are following all the steps, as I said. So here you can see I have my Spark data frame, and now here I'm gonna write into the Hudi. So I'm gonna say Hudi DB and sales. I'm gonna use the record ID as a PK, which I had in my table, that is invoice ID, and pre-com key as an action. And then this is my location for my Hudi. So I'm gonna run the cell and run this cell. Now what this will do is basically this will create a Apache Hudi data lake, and again this will not have duplicate, and I'll show you. So now when we do the next step, when we update something in the SQL, we will see a duplicate in the data lake, but when we upsert into the Hudi, you won't see a duplicate. Your Hudi will always be in sync with what you have in the SQL. That's the beauty. All right. Hopefully, so yeah, this is done. So now if you come to the glue, and now you should see a new database called Hudi DB, and here you'll see a table called sales. You should be able to query this data as well. So I'm going to refresh my Athena at this point, right? And then click on the drop down, click on Hudi DB, and then basically do a preview table. So here I should see my Hudi data. Congratulations, yay. Now look at the magic of Hudi. Now this is where Hudi shines, as I said, right? So okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna update the invoice ID 3261. I'm gonna change the shipping day from 2-day to 1 day. Maybe the buyer said I want a 1-day shipping, whatever that is. So I'm gonna change it. Now see what's gonna happen. Okay, so we did that. I'm gonna select this. So remember, if I do a select in my SQL, it's 1 day now, right? So at this point, the DMS will capture this change, okay, and it's gonna go into S3. But in S3, you will see a duplicate. But when we upsert into Hudi, you won't have duplicates. You'll always have the latest one. So I'll show you. So now back here, S3 again. I have 2 files. I should see one more. Again, this might take a little bit, second or 2, right? So I'll wait. And actually, I'll do one more. I did, which one did I update? I updated 3261 with the 1 day, okay? Remember that. So I'll just write down over here so you can now verify that with me. And then I'm also gonna change 15216. So where invoice ID? This one, we'll change this to 1 day, do an update statement, and just to show you that it did update. And here you can see 1 day. Now back to my S3, and there you go, you have it, perfect. Now see, now this is where Hudi comes in handy, right? So close, click on the refresh button, then click on DMS DB, and now click on preview, and I see what's gonna happen. So remember, I did change 3261 to 1 days. Observe 3261, so I have a duplicate. I don't need that. That's a problem. Data like duplicates, right? But now how do I know which one is a new one, right? So if you observe, I know the 1 day one is the new one, right? I know because I updated it, right? So now what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna do an upsert in the Hudi table, right? So now again we're gonna run the glue job. So basically coming to the notebook. Again, you will implement a bookmark. So when you're reading from a catalog, you'll always read incremental data, right? So again, I'm gonna run this cell again. So all the cell again, and let's wait for this to complete. Again, might take a second or 2. 14. Okay, now I'm doing an upsert. So now this is doing an upsert on the Hudi table. So you'll always have updated data in Hudi. Again, I think that's done. Now see the magic. I mean, not magic though, but it's truly it's actually a magic. Let's call it a magic, because a lot of stuff happens behind the scene Hudi does for you. So if I come now to the preview table, look at that, man, no duplicates. 1 day. But if you went to the raw one where the DMS was, there were duplicates. In Hudi, there are no duplicates. It's always in sync. So now just to show you that it makes sense. Okay, wait, not this one. This is the other one. Wait, let me see. So come here. This one. I'm gonna go to the Hudi DB, refresh, click on preview table at this point. Yeah, I do see both the records, so that's good. Yeah, there you go. 1 day is 1 day. Here you can see. So look, guys, this is where the Hudi shines. This is why people are building transactional data lakes, right? And it's easy, right? Once you understand the skill set, it's easy like that. So this is the entire project that we have essentially done, and this is the entire architecture we have built. It was complex, but it's not complex since you were following step-by-step process. So thank you so much for watching the video. Please share this video with your co-workers and friends so they can also learn the essential skills and start building transactional data lakes with Apache Hudi. Please join the Slack channel where you can meet more developers and you know, Hudi community, right? So there's a Slack channel as well. Links are in the description. So join the open source Apache Hudi framework, right? So yeah, that's basically an entire project demo. I hope you have enjoyed, and do try these out. Now make sure you terminate everything. Make sure you terminate the DMS database. So so that you don't get any charges, right? Thank you so very much for watching the video. I hope you have really enjoyed. I hope you find value in these contents, and if you did, please simple like and a comment would be great on the video. With that being said, keep smiling, keep programming, and I will see you guys in the upcoming next video.